So you think we're gonna do this again next year? What up, YouTube? Welcome to the weekly vlog that we call
10 toes in when we standing on
the Brotherhood for Greatness. We are here for each other. Thank you very much for joining me on today's vlog. Before we get into anything, thank you to everybody who commented in the past few videos. We had a couple last week. Thank you to everyone who commented in those videos. Truly what makes this vlog, this weekly video that I shoot, worth it is the interaction from you guys. I get like way more from you than you get from me, obviously, so thank you. So before we get into it, before we get into the state of the video game collection that we call State of the Horde, we talk about life. How was your life? Let me know in the comments below. Before I get into it, it's nighttime. I took a shower before I shot this video, wearing my little Mac attire. So quite a few things happened in the past week since I talked about the life. Last night, yesterday, we had our Extra Life charity fundraiser. Thank you to everybody who donated and who joined us that day. Really do appreciate you guys. Honestly, truly. Me and Lester just kind of had a conversation about the day, though. You can see my basement here. It's kind of a mess. I'm still kind of cleaning up from the day of those filthy pigs. Actually, it was pretty tame, all things considered. But after the show was over, Lester and I were talking about it, how really felt like we were dragging ass that video. We were talking about, is this even like the last time we're doing this? So we're still going to be thinking about that as the year goes. A lot of things we could have improved. Like this year, I want to say we put it together last minute, but we didn't. We actually planned this quite a bit. Lester made a beautiful interface and everything. Everything went smoothly. Just the execution of it probably wasn't as good as it could be. We didn't really have a game list. We kind of went random with it. So if we were to do it again next year, I think Lester and I were talking about for sure having like a game list. I was bringing up maybe having a theme. But let me know in the comments below what you would like to see from us on next year's Extra Life. Also, before Extra Life, Lester and I went to our annual wrestling show that we always do. A local wrestling promotion called WPW Wrestling. Winnipeg Pro Wrestling. We go to it every year, their big show. It's always in October. This year they had like Mustafa Ali there. They had that Dijak guy who was let go from WWE. They had Matt Cardona. It was a good show, honestly. It was a great, for local wrestling, I don't even want to say for local wrestling, just in general, fantastic show. Really enjoyed ourselves. You can see Lester and I here. We went with my brother-in-law and his friend. One of the things I'm so grateful for in my life is having like a literal brotherhood. My brother-in-law, my friends around me, so we can experience things like that together. You know, as we get older, or as I get older, I cherish more like those relationships and those experiences more than state of the video game collection, the State of the Horde. If you've been following the weekly vlog here, you know the name of the game stays the same. We're posting and purging everything on eBay. We're also I'm trying out this newer platform, new to me anyways, Whatnot, like a live auction selling platform. If you're not familiar with it, you haven't like signed up for it, please use my link in the description below. I'd really appreciate it. You filthy reseller, Nate. Miscusi. But if you've been following the show, you know two of the consoles I've decided to purge from my collection because I think I'll be happy without them. My Sega Master System. You can see how it looked at the beginning of all this. Not that big a collection, but I didn't really have that much emotional attachment to it. And you can see how it looks today. It's just whatever's left over. And if I'm being honest with people, the games that I already sold, obviously I sold them for more than I paid for them because I bought these games years ago and nobody cared about these games. $5, $2.50, all complete in box. I sold a lot of those games for pretty good. You know, if anything, I made my money back at least. So the remaining games that I have here, I decided for Whatnot to hold a $1, $2 auction on my remaining stock. So the remaining Sega Master System games will be selling for up to like $1 to $2 starting bid. Because if they sell for $1, they sell for $2. I hope they go to one of you who really appreciates it and will enjoy it. I'm also selling the rest of my Sega Game Gear games off. Same story as the Sega Master System. The games I already sold from my Game Gear collection has more than paid up for what I spent in total for the entire Game Gear collection as a whole. So the remaining games are, I think all of them are starting at $1. So don't forget to check out my whatnot. It should be linked in the description below. I would appreciate it. Hopefully it goes to one of you guys. And hopefully you get it for $1. I was thinking about what's the next console to purge. I want to do a video where I talk about all the consoles in my collection and where I put them on a tier list. Maybe I'll still do that. But yeah, during Extra Life, I was like, you know what I could really get rid of? My Nintendo 64 collection. Now we're going to cut to me here. This was after Extra Life, so I'm looking a little bit rough, a little bit tired and bloated off pizza. But I decided that night, non-negotiable, I had to go through my collection, pick what I'm going to sell and what I'm going to keep. The goal for the Nintendo 64 collection is to get it down to one shelf of games that meant something to me. That's like the main criteria. But after we get back, I'm going to talk about it more. I've been thinking about it. Is it really the time to sell right now? So Extra Life is over. I took the table out of here. I know my room's a mess. Like, it's not lost on me that when you guys see the vlog, it's a mess. My goal is, as the vlogs are going, this is slowly going to get more and more cleaned up as we go. But today, the Nintendo shelf. Above it, it looks really bad actually. This is my Nintendo 64 collection here. One shelf. Actually, it's this one. And if you go over here, that's my boxed games. My goal is to get this collection down. I want to get this collection down to one shelf. Okay. I know it's late, but we're going to do this. We're going to look through this collection here. We're going to get this down to one shelf. That's the goal. Brutally honest, no hesitations. We're going to pick what we're going to keep and what we're going to put back out into the wild. We're going to sell to y'all. Join me on whatnot. So as I'm looking at this, a lot of nostalgia, a lot of memories are flooding back in my mind. And I think one of the criteria I'm going to use is, especially for the N64, I don't love the console as much. So just whatever means something to me that is relevant to my past, that's what we're going to keep. That's what we're going to stay with. This one is interesting here. Mario Party, not for resale. Mario Party 3. I got this at a thrift store, a decade ago now. Property of Nintendo. There's like a sticker on the back of it. I'm trying to think if the Mario Party games mean something to me. This game doesn't actually mean that much to me, I don't think. Castlevania, I'll put it on top, and level Castlevania 64. I think that one we'll put back into the wild. Paper Mario, I didn't really grow up with it, but I don't know if it's a game I want to keep forever. I'm going to keep that for now, though. Bomberman 64. What's up to my cousins who don't love me anymore? I miss you guys. One of my favorite games of all time. I have this complete box. We're going to keep this game. That is not even a question in my mind. Along with its brother, Ocarina of Time. We're going to keep that as well. Got to keep that Mario Kart 64. I think over time I'll upgrade some of these. The keepers. Smash, man. When this game came out, it was like, bro, we can fight with Nintendo characters. It's like my dream come true. My cousins and I rented it back in the day. And Resident Evil 2. We rented this once with my cousins, but since it's one of my favorite games on the N64, I think we're going to keep that. So we have like one game only right now to look through here. This is going to be on the maybe list. I'm going to put it right here on top of my TV. We're going to think about that. GoldenEye. You got to keep that game. No Mercy. I don't know. I think I got to keep that game. I think the battery's dry on that one, actually. And Revenge. That many hours on that game as a kid, so I'm going to keep that one. I think this is the side I don't care too much about. Hey You Pikachu. I don't even know what it's worth, but we're selling that one. You'd think I want to keep this game. Dr. Mario 64. But I don't. My instinct right now is to sell it, so we're going to put it on the to sell pile. I don't even want to play the game because I don't want to get attached to it. Mrs. Pac-Man or Miss Pac-Man Maze Madness. I think that's going to go for sale. Elmo's Letter Adventure. I don't know why I picked this up. The label's pretty damaged there. You can see on the back as well. I think we should sell that one too. Oh, I have 2 copies of GoldenEye. I think this one's in a little worse shape, so we'll put that one back out into the wild. Mischief Makers. Bro, that's a fun game. But I did not grow up with this game. You might have remembered me picking this up on a vlog. Oh, it hurts to sell this one, but I think I have to. Castlevania Legacy of Darkness. This is like the director's cut, I think, of Castlevania 64. I don't even want to play this game because I don't want to get attached to it. Back into the wild.
And you'll come back someday, maybe.
Perfect Dark. Okay. This game meant something to my cousins. I personally didn't like this game. I think we'll put it back out into the wild. I don't know the prices of any of these games. Flashing my vintage Resident Evil shirt there for you guys. Warzone, a horrible game, but it meant a lot to me growing up, so we're going to keep that one. Okay, Lester would get mad at me if I sold this one. Hang Time. I think we'll keep that one. Wave Race 64. That's a fantastic game. I have nostalgia vibes when I see that. And Cruisin' USA. That's like my entire loose N64 collection. I'm keeping that one. I played a lot of Cruisin' USA back in the day. Let's go look at the boxed complete games. This one's a keeper, obviously. That goes to my loose cartridge over there. Ridge Racer 64. I bought this, or I traded, I think. Chris for this one. What's up, Chris? I don't like this game, so I'm going to sell that one. Bottom of the 9th. I think I'll sell that one as well. Pokemon Snap. That was a rental special for us. We never owned it, my cousins and I, or my cousins never owned it, but we rented it. A lot of hours on that game. Again, Resident Evil 2, that's the box to my loose copy. And Ocarina of Time. Staying with me, you are going to make some other people happy. So as you can see, quite a bit of games here from the N64 collection that are going back into the wild here. This is all the stuff I'm selling, sorry. So I gotta clean all these, I gotta take sticker residue and all that off of them. This is the one. I'm so hesitant to sell Mario Party 3. This is funny actually. On the back of Perfect Dark, you can see here, $1.99 I paid for this game. Back in the day. Let me know in the comments below, would you sell this Mario Party 3 not for resale? I will do whatever the comments say. So you've seen me already. I've cleaned my games. I've kind of labeled them. How do I store them after I decide what I'm selling, what I'm not? I just kind of put them back where they are, but I put green stickers on all the games I'm gonna sell, so they just stay back on the shelf. That way I don't have to look for storage on my own. And all the games I keep, I just kind of keep it beside it. So as the games and whatnot sell, the shelf will get less and less, and then it'll eventually look like this. This was where my Sega Master System games were. Now they're all gone. Which, the remaining Sega Master System games, I'm starting at $1 on Whatnot. So don't forget to join me. There's a link in the description below if you're not a member yet. I'm going to be starting all my remaining Game Gear games at $1 on there. Starting some Snoopy, some cheap Game Boy games for $1. And also we're going to get into selling the Dreamcast collection. But this is the main thing for the next Whatnot show. Sega Master System games starting at $1. Peace out to the Sega Master System. So now you know, one of the biggest concerns I had about selling my collection is where I'm going to store everything after I list it. And I'm like, you idiot, Nate. You just put them back on the shelf. I put a little green sticker on them. You can see that's how I know what's selling and what's not. And as the collection dwindles down, I'll just take it off the shelf kind of thing. But like I said before, is the time to sell the Nintendo 64 collection now? Mainly, I'm asking this because it was recently announced that they're coming out with the analog Nintendo 64 clone console. I don't know what you call it, FPGA. I don't know how that's going to affect the market. And obviously, I've been sitting on this collection for quite a bit. If I sold it now, I'm, looking at it monetarily, I know people hate that. I would still probably make my money back. But if I wait a little bit longer, as we get closer to the release of the analog 64, would it be worth it to hold on to these games a little bit more because there might be a bump up in the prices of these games? I don't know. If you've analyzed this and you've thought about this before, please let me know in the comments below what you think. Does a console like the analog 64, like when they came out with the analog Pocket, or like the analog for the Nintendo, did that bump up the price of those games when that console came out? I feel like it's no, and there's no advantage for me to wait to sell my N64 collection, but at least you guys know what I'm going to sell now, what I'm not, and why. The Nintendo 64 overall is just not one of those consoles that I had an affinity for. Yes, it has one of my favorite games of all time on it, but there are definitely some games on the console that I love, and having a one-shelf collection for it, I think is fitting for that set in my collection, and I'll be happy with that for the rest of my life. That's how I'm looking at this now. Before we leave, we reiterate the 3 goals that I commit on this channel. My wife and I had a fight about it already. 3 goals every video I repeat so that they stay fresh in my mind. Number 1, I want to buy a Polaris Slingshot, my midlife crisis that I'm not having auto cycle, like my version of a motorcycle. I want to buy one of those with the funds I raise slimming down my collection. Essentially taking video games off the shelf and putting it into a motorcycle, autocycle, whatever you want to call it. I want one of those. I think it'll be fun to have to drive around in. My son's like, can you pick me up from school in it, Dad? Absolutely, my son. Will my wife let me buy one by the time I have enough funds for one? That'll be another story. I'll record her talking to me about it when we get to that point. Number 2. I will make a shirtless video. I really got to keep up with this. At the end of the year for charity. Because I have a mission to get myself into better shape than I am now, which I am lacking now. I'm saying I have 2 months. Legit, little less than, just under 2 months now to get in better shape. I'm going to make a video where I take my shirt off for charity. Some sort of component. Maybe ALS Ice Bucket Challenge in the middle of winter on New Year's Eve. If you guys donate, I will do it. I'll find a way to make it work. And number 3, I commit to making these weekly vlogs for you guys, with you guys. I don't say for you guys. I appreciate you guys just as much, if not more, than you appreciate me. I don't even know if you appreciate me, but I appreciate you. Please know that. Even though we are miles apart, we are still connected through this love of retro video games and this thing that we do called life. Quote of the week before we go. Shit, I wish I had a quote. Jordan Peterson's coming back to Winnipeg. I'm gonna watch him. I know people don't love Jordan Peterson, okay? I read this book. I really like this book. I think sometimes people take him out of context. I think sometimes the things he does say may seem controversial, but when you lean into it a bit, maybe not as much as people think. Rule number 4 in the 12 Rules for Life, he says, set your house in perfect order before you criticize the world. I think in today's day and age, we just live in this world of cancel culture, where if somebody says one thing that you don't like, they're done. Send him to the gallows. His life is forfeit. Maybe because in this day and age, we're looking at people through a screen. It's easy to mistake real people who have real lives and real faults as non-playable characters in life. I'm not saying I'm perfect at this either. There are certain things that people do that I cannot forgive. There's some horrendous things that people can do in life. But I feel like social media in the world today just really promotes that arrogant side of human nature. And by setting our house in order, not only are we able to make this world a better place, but we're in a better position to protect those that we love, our property, ourselves, from the evil doers of this world. Set your house in order. Work on your personal fitness. Work on your health. Learn some basic self-defense so you can protect your family in those instances where you don't want to. Shield your mind by filling it with positivity and knowledge and wisdom. My true wish for everybody watching this video who connects with me is that you live your best life. You get one shot at life. Make it a knockout. Bam, son. Nate, dropping elbows and dropping knowledge. Thank you very much for joining me. I appreciate you guys. Peace. Take care of yourselves and the people you love.